class 12 student. I just graduated class 12 this year, and I have uh, I have wrote a blog that compares the tender documents of CBSE, and I have uploaded it and I have published it, and I have just compared both of them, and I found some discrepancies, and yes, that's pretty much it.
For those people who have not read your blog, can you highlight what was the discrepancies that you highlighted and what was the impact of that?
There were many discrepancies, ma'am. Like there were at least 15 discrepancies as per my blog. I would like to highlight three or four of them. The first, let me give a background about COEMPT. I think we all have a background about COEMPT. That COEMPT was named as Globarena, and they have a very shady background. 23 students killed themselves because of COEMPT. Now we have that now we have that clear. I'd like to tell you about RFP. RFP is request for proposal, and what happens is basically that the government issues a tender. CBSE is a government entity. It issued a tender. It issues a tender and it asks the bidder to bid for it. CBSE issued this tender three times. There were three different RFPs. The first was totally wiped off. The first was wiped off the GEM portal and everywhere. The second one I could find, and it was four bidders applied, and all of them were failed in the technical evaluation. COEMPT and TCS happened to have been in them. On 28th August, CBSE releases another tender, and COEMPT EDUTECK scores that tender. And I have compared both these tenders, these old RFP and the new RFP, on the 2nd May and the 28th August, and I found some discrepancies which I like to share. The first discrepancy is that in the old tender there were three clauses of poor performance that the service the service provider, which happens to be COEMPT, would be disqualified if they have poor performance. But in the new RFP, it was totally wiped out. The second clause I'd like to point out was a blacklisted loophole. In the earlier RFP, there was a clause called blacklisted earlier. It was called blacklisted earlier. In the new RFP, it was changed to blacklisted currently. Why would the board want someone? Why would the board want a service provider which had been blacklisted earlier? The third thing I found out was the 50 crore limit which you needed to qualify, and it was like a 50.86 crores limit. 50 crore limit, and COEMPT qualified that by 1.7%. Three Info Solutions in the pre-bid clarifications asked CBSE to lower it down, but CBSE did not lower it down. Then there are changes of CMMI levels, like how CMMI level was changed from 5 to 3. The time frame was also changed. The time frame of corrupt practices were halved. Collusion was made easier. Then there were project criteria changes. All this show a pattern. It shows a pattern that TCS, which is an industry giant, was not preferred. But COEMPT was preferred. COEMPT is works with a very fragmented group of institutions, and COEMPT was preferred over TCS. And all of this shows that CBSE, all of this points to the fact that CBSE rewrote the rules to favor COEMPT EDUTECK.
So Sarthak, I just want to understand from you what made you go after CBSE and do this research on your own. You're very young, and you have started this research and you have found some very big discrepancies in the CBSE's process. How you started this research? Can you tell us a bit about that background?
Sure, ma'am. I was working with Nisarg Adhikari. He's the ethical hacker. I was working with him, and he told me about COEMPT. So that made my interest go in COEMPT. And then I worked with the other journalists from Hindustan Times and all. So it was a collective effort, and I found some information on my own, and then I published it all in my blog. I just read through the RFP paper. I felt the discrepancies needed to be published, and I decided I should publish it on my own.
With now the focus is increasing on the discrepancies through your blog, how it made you feel, and do you think it will bring some change in the system?
I am hopeful, ma'am. I'm hopeful that CBSE would answer my questions. I have raised important questions through my blog. I hope CBSE will ensure transparency over the tender system. I hope the government of India also ensures that the tender system, the procurement websites, all are transparent. The data should be easily downloadable, and more journalists, more media houses should report on this.
And do you support OSM, or should there be no OSM, or just plain checking, physical checking should be there?
Ma'am, I think transparency. I think OSM is a good change. I do not dislike it, but I think there should be wide rollouts. First, there should be good demo pilots. As many other reports pointed out that there were not good pilots and it was not extensively tested. I think it should be implemented properly. Any system you implement should be implemented properly.
And now the government is saying, now the reports are there that government will provide, OSM will continue, but government will provide answer sheets also from next year along with the marks. How do you see this? Will this improve the transparency?
This shall improve transparency. This is a welcome change.
Yeah. And I want to understand from you, your result came also this year.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
did you face the same problems that other students faced?
I did face some of it. I would say I was on a luckier side. Not all of my pages were blurred, and it was okay. But I did face there were like checking issues, there were marking issues, which I will be sorting out after in the reevaluation process.